Invincible Season 1 follows teenager Mark Grayson as he inherits powers from his father Omni-Man and struggles to find his own path. Mark expects to be a hero like his dad, but learns that heroism has heavy costs. Early in Episode 1, Mark discovers his abilities when he launches a trash bag into space while working at his job in Burger Mart. After some trial and error, Nolan begins his brutal training on Mark by pushing him to his limits and hitting him in his upper chest, which catches Mark off guard since he's never been hit by his own father. To which Omni-Man replies with, "You have to be prepared with anything," which foreshadows the finale of the season when a brawl breaks out between Mark and Omni-Man, where he has to face his father head-on with Omni-Man not pulling his punches, showing Mark that he really does have to be prepared for anything, even being lied to and betrayed by his own father. Later on, once he has the new uniform, he names himself Invincible and takes his first step toward his own identity. Something which continues to develop throughout the season as Mark questions who he really is and who he has to side with. Omni-Man is his Viltrumite dad, who wants Mark to stand by him when he unleashes his conquest over Earth, which has been Omni-Man's true purpose this entire time, where he even pushes his own son to carry out his purpose, which Mark had absolutely no idea about for the past 18 years he's been with his father, allowing Mark to question who his father really is and who to trust. This creates the theme of loyalty and trust, as Mark has to either protect his home on Earth or side with his dad, Omni-Man. Throughout Season 1, Nolan's influence looms over Mark, setting a high bar for heroism that Mark initially strives to meet. Omni-Man tells Mark to never hold back. Eve, who meets Invincible for the first time as Adam Eve when the city is being attacked by aliens. Mark quickly befriends Eve Wilkins, a fellow teen hero who is also trying to figure out her own identity as she can't seem to decide whether to pursue her superhero identity or go to college. However, Mark relates to her and they trust each other enough to reveal their secret identities, and she invites him to join her teen team. She even asks Mark if he wants to talk about his first heroic battle with aliens, where Mark is clearly shaken up after failing to protect the civilians with even a poor grandma dying in his own hands, showing that her bond with Mark is much more nurturing and soft rather than Omni-Man's strict and tough bond with his own son. Eve also challenges Mark morally. When Mark realizes he's been focusing only on heroics, Eve bluntly tells him he's been selfish with his powers and time. This nudges Mark to care about the people he's neglecting. Amber Bennett, who is Mark's girlfriend, represents Mark's normal life and conscience. She involves him in community projects like helping at a soup kitchen, and Mark promises to balance this with hero work, showcasing a clash between Mark's identities where he needs to focus on who he really wants to be and that he cannot choose both, which again relates to the season's finale. When Mark breaks that promise, skipping a date to rescue a classmate, Amber becomes hurt and breaks up with him. Through Amber's reactions, Mark learns firsthand that true heroism includes caring for loved ones and keeping personal commitments, not just fighting villains. That he needs to care about others' feelings and connect with them. In Episode 5, Titan, Mark defies Nolan to help the villain Titan take down the crime boss Machine Head. This mission goes badly. During the raid, the Guardians of the Globe intervene, and the powerful Battle Beast knocks out Invincible by physically mauling him to the verge of death. Mark realizes that he should have listened to his dad and stayed away from others' business. He understands that some foes are too strong and he lacks experience even with his raw Viltrumite strength. In episode, Nolan finally reveals his Viltrumite conquest plan and expects Mark to help. In a brutal fight, Nolan easily defeats Invincible and lays waste to much of Chicago. As a consequence, thousands are now dead because of this, and as Omni-Man leaves Earth aborting his mission, all the responsibility is left on Mark setting up future character arcs about responsibility. By season's end, Mark accepts that balancing his ordinary life with hero work is an essential part of responsibility. By the finale, Mark is physically and emotionally shattered. Nolan's betrayal, slaughtering the Guardians, and planning Earth's conquest leaves Mark beaten and disillusioned. The season ends with Mark forging his own identity as Invincible and facing the consequences of his final battle with his father, Omni-Man. Make sure to like and subscribe, as this is only part 1 of 3 videos I will be making on the development of Mark as a character, and as always, see you in the next one.